Hello, sorry about that. Bit of what's called in the business a technical fuck up. My fault. Yeah, I for some reason I thought I disabled the built-in webcam in this particular laptop. Unfortunately, I hadn't, and for some reason Google was then trying to read that webcam, which was actually covered by the better webcam that I've got on. So, yes, total screw up. But anyway, it looks like most of you are back. So, hi, sorry about that. Have a drink. Seriously. Okay, so Infamous Second Son. Now, if you followed anything. Oh, sorry about that. Bit of. Oh, look at that. There you go. Look at that. I am, for some reason, I had my own feed in the background and it kicked in a couple of seconds later. Anyway, wow, this is going great. It's not Friday the 13th, is it? No. At least you know it's live. Anyway, Infamous Second Son. As most of you will know, I'm a big fan of Infamous 1 and 2. It's probably my favorite couple of games on the PlayStation 3. And in fact, you know, I revisited both in the last year. And while perhaps graphically they don't stand the test of time, they're still a bunch of fun. In particular, Infamous 2, which really sort of like expanded on what the first game did. Now, I've been moist, which is such a lovely, filthy word. I've been moist for Second Son ever since it was shown at the PS4 announcement in New York about 12 months ago. I've been gagging for it, and the fact that it was supposed to be a launch title and then it was pushed back, and you know I was still gagging for it. And so my review copy came, which was awesome, and I started playing. And before I get into it too much, I want to put a couple of caveats out there. Caveat one, the day one patch that basically, you know, anybody who's bought retail today will access, which adds apparently 5 hours of stuff, including some stuff that clarifies what happened after the end of Infamous 2, and it's sort of like the Cole McGrath memoirs, and also gets this paper trail system working. I haven't had access to those. I mean, I had access to the first paper trail, which is built into the game, but then it wouldn't connect to the server. So I haven't really been able to evaluate and really go through those particular missions. But I can talk to you about what was on the disc. I can talk to you about what I played. And honestly, if Sony had wanted us to talk about, you know, us being media types, to talk about those additional content-y type things, then maybe they should have made that stuff available earlier. Yes, that's right. My eyes keep on dropping because I'm looking at myself, which is creepy. So yes, Infamous Second Son, set in Seattle. New character, Cole McGrath, gone bye-bye. So you have this new character called Delsin, who I don't like. I really don't like. Oh, I mean, I was going to like, you know, really sort of like establish the story and stuff. But look, I'm sure you're not here for that anyway. Delsin's a douche. He really is. He's an eminently unlikable character. He's this, you know, edgy tagger who, you know, likes spraying graffiti and getting into trouble. He's a troubled teenager who turns out that he can siphon powers from people and become a conduit. And he's a tool. He's a tool throughout the game. I mean, he's got lots of pithy little one-liners. And I'm not dissing the voice actor because the voice actor just puts out there what he's given to read. But he really is just not a nice, enjoyable character to play, especially after Cole. I mean, I really liked Cole, and it's interesting, you know, there are a lot of reviews out there today where people are saying, oh, Delsin's an excellently fleshed out character. And I'd say, well, you obviously hang out with a lot of douchebags. I mean, seriously, this guy wouldn't be out of place in an episode of Girls, which is a show I really, you know, I don't like because I'm an old guy. And maybe that's the thing. Maybe this Infamous is made as a reboot for a younger generation, although I'm not sure how many of the younger generation can afford to have the PS4 right off the bat. But yeah, he just winds me up the wrong way. So I didn't like him. I liked Fetch, who's one of the sidekick characters. Unfortunately, she's woefully underused. She is a character who comes in later in the game. Around probably about 2 hours in. And she's got potential. Hell, she might have been a more interesting character to play than Delsin, in my opinion. Um, I mean, let's talk about the positives, you know, for a second. So I'm not continually hammering on some of the aspects of the game. The game is pretty. It is pretty. I mean, the lighting effects, the smoke effects. I mean, obviously you got your two powers. You got neon. You got smoke. You start off with smoke, and you know, it looks beautiful. You know, the smoke stuff. You know, as you're learning to use it, it's predominantly during the day. And you know, as you're journeying into Seattle, you get to, you know, look at the vistas. I mean, Seattle's a big city. It's not an 100% accurate representation of Seattle, but it still looks really, really good. And like I said, the smoke powers, you know, look great. And then when you kick into the neon, and especially when, you know, I can see why they picked Seattle to a certain degree, because, you know, it's dark, it's rainy, very wet, very cloudy. So the neon shows up so well. Especially in those, you know, nighttime gameplay sections, when it's raining and the water's falling and everything's reflecting. It really is impressive, and that's where it kind of comes off like this was Sony's plan all along. Let's take a franchise like Infamous and make it a tech demo for the PS4, because it shows off what the system can do, and it shows it very, very well. I did have some frame rate issues at a couple of points in the game. I'm not sure. I'm sure they've been addressed in the patch, but because I didn't have access to the patch before I've sat down to talk to you, I haven't really been able to sort that out. There are a couple of issues when you get these uber powers. You get an uber power that you can queue up, and you basically build, and then you can unleash. And it's the first time you execute it, it's so cool. And there are, you know, there are a couple of different ones. And when I did unleash one, the neon power, in a very crowded area in Seattle, frame rate went through the floor. But you know, that only happened a couple of times, which, like I said, I'm sure has been fixed. I haven't seen any other mentions of it in reviews. Perhaps it was just a one-off for me. And I'm playing retail version on a retail PS4, by the way. So let's talk more about the story and the missions. I mean, there's a huge open world environment. It is absolutely, you know, it's huge, and you better get it bounce around. And there are side missions, and the side missions I'm going to talk about, because the side missions in 1 and 2, they, you know, the ones on 2 especially were, I think, some of the strongest in the series. Did they repeat themselves? Yes, but then there was also a lot of user-generated content. There was a lot of races. There was a lot of just additional cool stuff in there that when you got your powers up, it was actually really fun to try and do. This time round, every district that you go into and you clear out you clear out the DUP presence, you have, you know, 4 or 5 little side missions or tasks, or perhaps a little bit more. You know, you have to take out some drones. You have to, you know, find a little audio log, take out an undercover agent, tag, you know, lots of graffiti. And the graffiti itself is amusing, and, you know, some really nice pieces of art. But, you know, you grab the controller, you tilt it on its side, you do that, and it sounds like an aerosol can, and then you control, you know, you move the controller around to spray the screen. And the first couple of times it's actually really fun. You know, you're like, oh, this is kind of cool, getting used to it, blah, 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 because there's not really a time issue. I've never had enemies walk up to me during it and start shooting me or anything like that. And like I said, the art is actually cool, but it does get repetitive, as do all the other side missions, because there is no variety. You know, you start off in one section of Seattle, and you do these X, Y, and Z missions, and then you pop over, you know, you move to another area, and 1 or 2 other different types of missions come in, but they're all variations on theme, which is a little disappointing, especially given the amount of work that went in, like I said, to the lighting and just how good the game looks, because it does look very, very good. So yeah, let's talk about the other bugbear, the really annoying one, which I've had. I mean, I went to see this game about 6 weeks ago with, you know, when Sony did something down here in Santa Monica, and I played a segment, and I had concerns about the powers. I had concerns that you couldn't switch back and forth, which you can't do, which is really seems like a cop-out. I mean, especially when, you know, you've got, I'm talking about a different style of game, but let's talk about Skyrim. Skyrim, you could have magic in one arm and a weapon in the other, or two different types of magic, and you could combine them, and that was really cool. You can only use smoke or neon, and if you want to, say you're full up on smoke and you want to switch to neon, then you have to go and find somewhere, and you end up filling up your neon thing, and smoke disappears. And the reason it kind of sucks is because smoke is better for fighting. Smoke is way better for fighting, to be honest with you. It packs more of a punch, but lousy for traveling. Neon is better for traveling, and kind of mediocre when it comes to the actual combat, which is a bitch, especially when you come to certain levels where you want to amp it up a little. You want to be able to throw different effects at people. You want to be able to zip in and out and do certain things, or bomb around, or shoot through a vent. One of the great little things about the smoke is that you can go through vents and you shoot up and you shoot out, and it's great, really cool. But otherwise, the traveling is really slow. And with the neon, you almost hit like light speed, and you're running around like a blur, and there's a trail, and it's really great. So yeah, you're in a big arena type setting. It's a boss. You have just one power set, and you have to use it. And if it's neon, there's no balls behind it. There's no balls behind the neon powers. I mean, at the end of the day, you're shooting light, and it's especially irksome because there are other characters who have the neon, and they have way more powers than you. And this was one of the things I loved about InFAMOUS, was that when you were upgrading your electrical powers, and you were putting more blast shards into the sticky bombs, or just even the electric bolts, they felt more hefty as they progressed. They did more damage, even against the big guys. You felt like there was a progression, and I pretty much unlocked most of the powers in InFAMOUS 2, and I was like, really? I put blast shards into, maxing out my basic shot, maxing out my power shot, and it still just doesn't have the cojones. It just doesn't have that oomph about it. And I think that's a trick that's missed. I mean, going back to the opportunity to be able to zip through a vent with the smoke power and come out blasting your neon powers, especially your neon mega power, as you shoot out of that vent, should have been right up Sony's alley, and it should have been up Sucker Punch's alley, because it would have been a phenomenally cinematic thing. And I'm not sure why they did it. I'm not sure why they annexed it off. Maybe it was just the system can't handle it. Maybe their engine couldn't handle it. But if it was just a purely gameplay decision, I think it was a not so good one. So yeah. So yeah, I'm a little disappointed. After the initial, oh cool, I'm wandering around, I'm seeing this, I'm picking up these new powers, getting used to these new powers. The gameplay it just felt a little underwhelming, which is a disappointment. Is it a bad game? No. I'm coming at it from somebody who absolutely adored InFAMOUS 1 and 2. Is it something that, I mean, I want to go back, I want to try these new additional missions, I want to try, and see what happens with the paper chase missions, see if some of the tech issues are sorted. But I've read a bunch of reviews today, and some of them, it's interesting, the European reviews are, I think, perhaps a little more in line with my thinking. A lot of the US reviews are people who actually criticized InFAMOUS 1 and 2, have said, oh, well, Cole was a miserable bastard. And yeah, Cole didn't want those powers. Cole didn't want those powers, but he was forced to adapt to them, and you see him start to accept, especially when you play the good and evil. I'll talk about good and evil in a second. And I think Cole was a much better character to play than Delsin. So let's talk about the karma system, because the karma is huge in InFAMOUS 1 and 2. It was very black or white, no shades of gray. It was, you make a good decision, you make a bad decision. You kill innocents, you heal innocents. You get good karma, bad karma. It unlocks good powers, get bad powers. With InFAMOUS 1 and 2, the bad powers were always the best, always the most fun. just pure, unadulterated evil, dropping a bunch of bombs into the middle of a crowded street, watching people blow up and run screaming, and lots of bad karma. And they would run from you, and they'd start fights with you, and that was great. And then when you play as the good guy, people would slowly warm up to you. Once you've done enough good things and you got your level up enough, they cheer you on. They take pictures. Second Son, it's still very black or white, which you expect a more nuanced experience, especially on these new generation consoles. They've changed some of the major things where it's like now it's red pill, blue pill. You do the good thing, it's the blue. You do the bad thing, it's the red. That's it. But then there's a reaction that you get from the people. Pretty quickly, I mean, it's almost instantaneous that if you start doing good stuff, they'll be, oh yeah, you're great, you're great, you're great. And again, no shades of grey, which I found a little bit irritating. Now, I've played through on Nice Guy. I wanted to, go against the grain, because my natural temptation is, of course, for me to be an evil bastard. However, I wanted to try the good stuff, and yeah, it was nice. People were like, but I did miss being able to blow up bunches of protesters and kick people around and do lots of headshots because I am sadistic. So yeah, look. Are there people out there who's going to enjoy this? Yes. Do I think if you're a huge fan of Infamous 1 and 2, you're going to like this as much? You'll appreciate the graphics. I'm not sure you'll like Delsin. I'm not sure it's an advance with regards to its gameplay. The caveat is that this is probably the first great big PS4 game. I mean, let's face it, the launch window, apart from a couple of third parties like Assassin's Creed, the launch window wasn't that great. And I think it's interesting that we had Titanfall last week, which is again a very good game, and we have Infamous this week, but neither has really taken that step forward. Do they look prettier? Yes. Are they fun in a lot of ways? Yes. Do they do anything brand new? Not necessarily, and it's kind of disappointing how perhaps 2 weeks ago I was like, yes, Titanfall, yes, Infamous Second Son, and they've come out, and maybe I've been personally expecting too much, or maybe I have a right to expect too much. Maybe I have a right to expect some really good stuff. I'm not going to give a review score. I would say that at the very least it's a rent. If you want a big open world experience on your PS4, it's pretty much the only choice you've got. Assassin's Creed notwithstanding. I mean, some of the superpowers, like I said, are fun. The big mega powers that you can unlock and power up are great. Being able to drop off the edge of the Space Needle is pretty damn cool, and you float down. And so there are a lot of positives in there. Unfortunately, it's more of a triumph of style over content for me, which is a disappointment. So yeah, take from that what you will. Maybe I shouldn't give you a score. Maybe I shouldn't give you a rent, buy, avoid, bargain bin, whatever. Maybe I should just share this with you and give you the chance to go off and make your own decisions. There's a lot of other reviews out there. There's a lot of other scores out there. So yeah. Now, where's this? Where's the Q&A thing? For some reason, I can't seem to find the Q&A thing, which is annoying. And is chat working? Not seeing anything come through with chat. This is muchly fun. Oh well. So it looks like I may not be able to take questions. For some reason, the Q&A option, which worked so well last time, has vanished. I can't find it in the apps. I can't find it anywhere else. So yeah, good job, Google. Good job for making stuff so easy, because let's face it, I'm a moron and I need stuff to be put out there. And if you've got a cool Q&A feature, it should be on the sidebar. Yeah. All right. So that's it. Couple of things, couple of bits of housekeeping. As always, follow me on the Twitter @AnnoyedGamer. There is a Facebook page, Facebook/The Annoyed Gamer or something. As you can tell, it's me and I've responded and stuff like that. There is a fake one out there. Don't go to the fake one unless you want to go and report it for spam, which is always fun. Yes, and I'm also going to be doing, and I'm giving you advance notice now because there are 192 people watching, and I very much appreciate you all watching. I wish I could interact with you right now, but maybe by the time Saturday comes around, I'll have sorted out the Q&A thing. Because on Saturday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is basically whatever your region is, plus or minus a certain amount of hours. Look it up, because we have already put our clocks forward an hour here in the US. Saturday morning, 10 o'clock, I will be doing a live Annoyed Gamer. I'm going to be recapping the week's events. I'm going to be talking about GDC and some of the things that have come out. I'm going to talk about the Daft Punk headset from the PS4. I am going to talk about some of the GDC awards and some of the games that got lots of love, deservedly so in some cases, perhaps not in others. I'm also going to talk about some of the awards that were given to people who shouldn't be getting awards. Some of the people who are not good for this industry, and people who are supported by people with a fucking agenda. And that agenda is not about games, but basically just spoiling it for everybody else. People who, with the way they communicate the messages, it's all or nothing, and they can spoil the bigger picture and make people take the more serious issues, the valid issues, a lot less seriously. You can do the math on that. All right, thank you so much for tuning in. That was a nice quick one. Sorry about the initial snafu, and if you're following, you're going to watch this on YouTube later, hit the like button, feel free to share, I much appreciate it. More subscribers mean, good things, apparently. So yeah, thanks folks. Have a great day, and keep up on the Twitter. I might do something later on today. It depends. I've got to go to the doctor this afternoon because I have to have a little bit of corrective surgery done to my foot, which is always fun. But if I'm back in time and I'm able to do it, I will look into streaming some InFAMOUS. I'll start the game from scratch with a patch, and I will play Evil Mode. Because I have a Twitch account. I think it's Marcus Beer, or is it Annoyed Gamer? One of the two. So yeah. Till then, ciao. Thank you.